heard. That's what Pat heard. That's what America heard. Now, here's the next thing, because we're investigative journalists. Do you remember who's the guy fired at CNN?
Rick Sanchez.
Rick Sanchez. Do you remember? I remember how great it was when we had Rick Sanchez to kick around.
Oh my gosh, those were good times.
They don't come back.
No, they don't.
They don't come back. Well, actually, they did with Piers Morgan, but Piers is gone now, and they don't come back. But here's Rick Sanchez, if you remember. Now, this is important to remember this moment here, because we're gonna tie something together. Listen to him.
In fact, we've seen this story kind of turn and change and wiggle a little bit, even since we've been on the air since 3 o'clock. Thanks so much, Wolf. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you. Good job on the Situation Room today, as I'm sure you will do. Up next, ad lib, a tease. That's what it says right here.
Oh, my God.
I'm supposed to ad lib about...
All right, so here he's...
Next up, ad lib, a tease.
All right. So I'm going to go a little inside. I'm going to go a little inside baseball here, but you're going to appreciate this when I'm done. Teleprompters say things like that. It will. They'll say up next, and then it will have parenthetically, ad lib / tease.
You ad lib a tease.
Okay.
You just do your own thing.
Next, I'm going to tell you more about whatever. And so he's just reading that. But also on teleprompters, when you play a what's called a SOT, sound on tape, when you play a SOT, it will say, President, it'll say SOT, parenthetically, SOT, President Obama, and then it will say OC, out Q, and then it will give you the last line of the president. Okay? I have a feeling that all that Al Sharpton is doing exactly what Rick Sanchez would do, and that is read the teleprompter. And so he's just not adding OC, out Q, and then giving the last line of what the SOT says.
Right. And the reason it's part of the script almost. Yeah, but it's not. It's just supposed to tell you, hey, it's time to go.
Right. You don't know when these things go out. You don't, because, we do this every day, and I don't remember what the last line is. And so they always put the last line in so you know when to start talking again.
Because when the clip is over.
Right. And so that clip, the prompter stays there until the last line is read from the sound on tape. And so when that last line is read, then you're looking up at the teleprompter and you see, okay, that's the last line. Then you can start talking. But I think because the teleprompter says that, when he sees, because also you've got a floor director that is pointing, so you have it on the teleprompter, and you have a teleprompter that is going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, point, and then you're supposed to start talking again.
Maybe that's why he says, they don't listen to the president.
It's maybe why he's saying the same thing after each clip.
It's just the out cue of the president's clip.
Right.
That's all it is.
And so he just thinks I'm supposed to say that, too.
And he's just doing a Rick Sanchez or a Ron Burgundy and reading anything that's on the prompter.
If it's on the prompter, he reads it. That could be what's happening. Play just a little bit, so in case you just tuned in, you know what we're talking about.
Agony of repeat.
People will lose their jobs.
People will lose their jobs.
If you work hard, you can make it here.
If you work hard, you can make it here.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
We're becoming a more perfect union.
We're becoming a more perfect union.
So it might be the out cue.
He might be.
Just reading.
He's just reading it.
Yeah.
Which makes this even more enjoyable.
Just makes it so awesome.
It just makes it everything.
There's one coming up that made me think of it when you were talking about it, because he actually says, are you paused in the same place you left off there, Pat? Because there's one where he says, the president says something like, they're talking about me.
Yeah.
And then Sharpton says, they're talking about me. Well, wait a minute. No, they're not talking about you, Al. They're talking about...
Play it.
We'll keep moving this country forward.
We will keep moving this country forward.
The defining challenge of our time.
The defining challenge of our time.
You can't shut it down.
Republicans can't shut it down.
They deserve a vote.
They deserve a vote.
The people's business is at stake.
The people's business is at stake.
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
They've got a problem with me.
They've got a problem with me.
Yeah.
So why would he?
Why would he say that? Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go and write the Free Beacon and say, is he doing this with all sots? Is he doing this with all sound bites?
Right.
Because if he's doing this every time he comes out of a clip, then you know. Otherwise, he's just being a parrot.
Right.
So the options are you a parrot or a moron?
Well, he could be doing it just some of the time. He might not do it every time, but he might mistakenly read that line over. I mean, he's just bad at television, obviously. If you've seen the show, he's terrible at it. So maybe it's just that, and he occasionally slips in. I'd like to see if he does it with other